5 of their last 6, so it's good for them to get the win. And for Philadelphia, they had won 5 of their last 6 at home. They're 19-4 at home this season, so a tough loss for them as they've been holding fort at home. Here's Paul George after the victory. So it is a long season, and you hear Paul George say it because OKC, they were riding the wave, playing well, climbing in the Western Conference, and then they hit this tough stretch. So to go on the road and get a victory like this and to hit a game winner, Westbrook fouls out, has another night struggling shooting from the field. What does that do for the team as far as morale is concerned to be able to get a victory when you've been struggling?
Well, it lets me know that Paul George is kind of that silent. We know it's, Russell's team, so to speak, as we say, but now that Paul George has been there for his second year, people understand what good of a leader he is and how he's trying to lead by example. And to your point, Chris, when they were 0-4, we thought something was wrong with him. Remember that when they started out 0-4 and Russell was hurt? We thought something was wrong with the team. They get healthy. Paul George reminds us on how good he really is. Russell starts to share a little bit more. Wait a minute, they're in the third? We didn't see them being in the third at the beginning of the season. So long season, you understand that your leaders have to lead and you have to try to play consistent basketball, and they're starting to do it.
Yeah, it's a 3D's point. I think it's Russell Westbrook's team, and he has dictated that Paul George is going to be our leading scorer. And once he made that decision, Paul George can be himself, and he's flourishing right in front of our eyes.
Talk about shot selection with Russell Westbrook. 8 for 21 from the field today on the season, shooting 41%, the lowest since his rookie season. Is that a matter of, okay, he's getting open looks and just missing them, or do you think that's poor shot selection as the major key there?
I think each night is a little different, but the nights he takes good shots, it seems like the offense flows better and he takes good decisions. And when things are bad, you're looking at it like, wait a minute, Paul George hadn't touched the basketball. The ball's not going from one side of the floor to the other. So when you watch some of these plays develop, you say, all right, this is going Russ being Russ. You get to your sweet spot. I'm not totally mad at that shot, Booth, because he normally can make that. The question is how many times you come down in a row and just go to that same spot and shoot it. Now nobody's touching the basketball. There's no continuity, and that's when you get frustrated. And then he said, okay, let me calm down a little bit. I love the glass. I'm missing that too. So, Booth, when you think big picture with this team, when he takes better shot selection to make better decisions, everything flows better.
Yeah, they're a better team when he makes good decisions. And for him, I think it's like you said, it's different every night. Some days he's got it going, some days he doesn't have it going. One thing that he always does, though, is get his teammates involved. And that's something I can appreciate as a big man who needs the point guard to get the ball to you. But for them moving forward, especially when the postseason gets here come April and May, you got to always make the right decision, because if you don't, it can really bite you in the butt.
And you say a big that needs a point guard to get you involved. Nowadays, we got a guy like Ben Simmons who is getting people involved on the perimeter, but also playing as a big. That's really been working out well for Philadelphia. We know they lost this game, but they still had 28 assists coming into this one. They had 78 assists in their previous 2 games.
Wow.
That's the best 2-game stretch for the 76ers since 1982. How is that working so well with Ben Simmons working from the post and getting guys involved?
Well, I think Brett Brown's done an excellent job, in my opinion, to cancel out the naysayers and keeping him away from the three-point line. At 6'10", whoever guards you, you should dominate your matchup by going to the post and the mid-post. And then when they start double-teaming, now you can be Brian or Magic or be whatever, because you're so tall you can see over the double-team and pick people apart. The only thing I will challenge him with, when I saw him the other night, Booze, is get your free throws together.
Yeah.
Because as you get into the playoffs and people start fouling you and you're a liability, we saw, I think it was one game last year in the playoffs, he was like 2 of 12 or something crazy. That's where you hurt your team the most. The three-point shooting, I think we over-talk. But when you're a late-game situation, you got the ball, now it's hack or bend, because they're going to send you to the free throw line, and that means Joel Embiid, less touches for J.J. Redick on down, less touches for Jimmy Butler. That's where I think Ben Simmons needs to continue to work on his game.
When trying to defend a player like that, as far as a guy that's going to have the height advantage over you, but still going to be looking to pass and can finish around the rim, how difficult is that to defend?
No, it's tough. I remember being in Utah and going against the Lakers when they had Lamar Odom, who was 6'10", can handle the ball very well, get the rebound and bring it up himself. He was very similar, could score, could make plays for his teammates. And that's what Ben Simmons does. He gets the rebound, he takes off. He's like a one-man fast break, but he's a phenomenal playmaker with great vision and with that height. So it's very tough for opposing power forwards. Do you put the power forward on him? Do you put the point guard on him where he takes advantage of you in the post? So he's a matchup nightmare. The one thing, like 3D said, is if he can get his free throws down and if he can get a consistent, like 16, 17-foot jumper, it don't have to be a three, but if you could take a step in, knock that down consistently, it takes him even higher.
All right, here's Brett Brown following that Philadelphia tough loss against the Oklahoma City Thunder.
What do you think of the last look there in the game?
The one where Ben dribble handoff to Jimmy. You know, I thought we were trying to create an environment where Ben could attack as best he could, keep the court spread. He cut the driving line off and, you know, ran a dribble handoff to Jimmy. We were out of timeouts at that stage. Really, at that point, you're begging, like, you know, 5 seconds left, no timeouts. You're trying to get whatever you can. And I'm backing Ben Simmons on the fly. I wish we got it out of bounds quicker to create more of an environment that was moving and a little bit more disorganized. But there's a lot of stuff that went on before that.
What went into the decision to trap out of that after dribbling the free throw?
Yeah, just we were out of timeouts. You know, you never feel comfortable. I don't letting somebody just dribble down a clock, and them getting the last shot. I don't like doing that. And so you got choices. You can either hit it while it's static and they can see you coming, or you can do it sooner and try to take advantage of doing stuff early so you have more clock to use from our end. And we just decided to do it sooner. The concept I would keep, you know, then you have decisions on what level do you do it. We decided to do it in full court, and it's a little bit easier after a free throw.
Do you expect him to go to Paul George there, I would assume, with Russell out of the game?
Yeah. You know, and we talked about it. There's two looks that they are good at. That's one of them. And they did a good job of getting him the ball, and he made a tough shot. Jimmy was all over him. You know, it's a tough shot. We give Paul credit. And there was a lot of good stuff Jimmy did going down. You know, we had the you know, sort of a 2-for-1 in our world where he just caught it and pulled it baseline, you know, scored out of that, had the dribble up three, had the steal, you know, with a trap that we're talking about. I thought Jimmy was huge, you know, when it mattered most. And Paul George made some tough shots. I thought the call with Paul that, you know, maybe travel, maybe didn't, but the defense was still, in this environment, pretty solid. That's a tough call.
Like you said, Brett, just a lot of positive things that were happening down the stretch with your guys, too. When you coming out of this at the end with a loss, how do you categorize? Like, are you happy with just what you saw, you guys, the fight tonight?
I thought physicality, they got the better of us in the first half. They're a physical team. You know, they really are long, athletic. Steven Adams is just so you know, much strength, brute force strength. The offensive rebounding hurt us. His offensive rebounding that they kicked out to Ferguson for the three maybe was as painful as all of them. You know, I'm sure when we go back and look at things with less emotion than we all have now, you're going to find a lot of good things. At the moment, it's a tough loss.
For Joel to step up and hit those free throws at the end of the game, I don't think he had shot very well from the line up until that.
That's right.
So what does that say about him? To just
I mean, I think that he just is looking forward to beating them. You know, we've had tough games with them here in Philadelphia, and I feel like he was probably, you know, anxious to get that first half. There were things that, you know, he could have done, you know, probably differently, and I thought that the way he responded, especially in the fourth period and in that environment, I thought it showed a lot of character stepping up to the line and making those shots.
What was just the range of emotions for you there in the final 25 seconds as the game kind of swung back and forth 4 or 5 times?
Yeah, I mean, you learn to sort of just stay pretty steady. You know, for me, my pain is always at 3 a.m. You know, when you sort of wake up and you realize that's when it hurts the most. and you move on. You know, I'm proud of the way that we're playing. I'm really proud of our cohesion. I think that there is a spirit amongst our group that at times previously we didn't have. And, you know, as long as we hold on to that, then we can do wonderful things. We can do wonderful things. And tonight, you know, we came so close to stealing a game in pretty dramatic fashion, in a very aggressive way, in a team way, with players making big plays. But it just didn't go our way. And we'll continue to try to just grow the fabric of the team is what you hear me say the most loudest.
What's the thing?
So let's take a look at that final play one more time. Philadelphia did not have a timeout. Jimmy Butler, we've seen him hit a shot from that spot for game winners twice in Philadelphia already, against Charlotte and against Brooklyn.
Can we show it again? Can we re-rack it upstairs and show it again, and then we can make the point to what Boozer was talking about earlier. You're only down 2. So we re-rack the play, do the dribble handoff with Ben. Watch how the 2 players come to Jimmy. Why can't Ben slip real quick, a little drop pass, now he knocks down a little elbow jump shot to go overtime, we're playing more basketball. That's the confidence that Boozer was talking about earlier. If you can just make a 14-foot jump shot, now you just destroyed the defense because the defense just said, Ben gave the ball up, we're both going over here to Jimmy, and we know Ben's not going to shoot it. Only thing he had to do was slip. We thought it was only 2 seconds, 5.1.
That's a lot of time.
5.1 is a lot of activity could have happened there. So that's what we're trying to help Ben for the next evolution of him being a great player is that forget about the 3. Just get a 15, 14-footer, little floater from there. Now you extend the game more basketball.
On the flip side of that, to your point we just talked about off camera, teams are starting to scout Jimmy Butler and the Sixers. They know he hit 2 big game-winning shots from that spot. You saw OKC trapped him right there, made it tough for him to make a play. And with Ben just standing there, if he slips to the hoop, like 3D said, he has a wide-open jumper.
And look, we all understand that Ben Simmons is a really good, if not great player in the NBA already. But as you're saying, for him to become a threat to just hit a 15-foot jump shot in clutch situations, that just makes him that much more dangerous.
That much more dangerous, that much more better, and then we will stop saying he's a liability in the last 3 minutes of the game because now teams are going to foul him or teams are going to leave him wide open or they're going to say, oh, we know JJ can shoot. Right. We're going to stay with JJ until you make a shot. We're not rotating. We can stay with, with Joel Embiid and they're rotating and double teaming off of his man.
It's a tough road ahead for the Philadelphia 76ers. Let's look at their upcoming schedule.
Ooh,
and look at the records the teams they're facing. All above 500.
All above 500, yeah.
And
even above 500.
Even the Sacramento Kings is a tough game nowadays. Maybe 3 or 4 years ago, you'd say, oh, we can take, that's chicken noodle soup. No, that's beef and potato now. You better bring a spoon.
Yeah.
The Rockets with James Harden, the Spurs, one of the hottest teams in the league. The Nuggets, top team out west. The Lakers, LeBron James should be back for that. The Warriors, we know who they are. Like you said, the Kings, Raptors, most wins in the NBA. Nuggets again. Lakers with LeBron. And then the Celtics, who are also headed in the right direction. Philadelphia basically playing a playoff schedule, moving ahead. And the Warriors just got this guy, Boogie. We look back on his big night next. You're watching
Nasal injury.
Sprain your nostril?
I don't think it was a nostril sprain. I don't think that's an official diagnosis. Nasal injury is what I read. Sprained nostril. All right, that game effectively in the books. This one actually in the books. Brooklyn comes back from 21 down to beat Orlando tonight, 117-115. Let's bring in D'Angelo Russell, who tied his career high with 40 points and joins us from Orlando. And D, thanks for stopping by. You guys, I guess you're used to this by now because I keep telling people you guys play the most entertaining games in the league. It's night after night that stuff like this happens with you. How much fun has this season been?
Man, I appreciate you guys having me. It's been amazing. We got a great collective group of guys, that are, coming together. We know it's going to take all of us to get to where we are today. And we know it's going to take all of us to get wins in this league. It's hard to win in this league, so we know what it takes.
D'Angelo, this is 2 weeks in a row now. I got a chance to talk to you after one of these games, man. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Is it becoming a thing, too, where the muscle memory for this entire group is now that we can finish games and we can get through these late game situations because you've been through so many of them this year?
Right. Correct. We've, man, honestly, I've been through it my whole career. on the other end of the tail end of games like that. But I've learned from them. And I think we got a great veteran group of guys as well that is appreciating being on the other end. We got guys that have been on it throughout their career, winning those type of games. So it feels good to get that.
D'Angelo, Sean Marks and Coach Atkinson seem like they've really tried to build a culture there where everybody understands that you're going to be bigger than the individual parts, that everybody's going to be willing to sacrifice for one another. And when you guys lost Karis LeVert, I think we've seen you do that, and you've been rallying around one another.
Yeah, like I said, we know it's going to be we as a group to get it done. No individual. Tonight it was I would say it was my night. The night before it was Spencer. The night before Joe Harris. Like we got a great group of guys that confidence is throughout the roof, and coach is preaching it. We're playing for one another, and we want to see each other do well.
Oh, D, I keep calling you guys America's team because you're just that entertaining. So congratulations on entertaining America again tonight and for getting above 500 for the first time this season. We appreciate you stopping by.
Heck yeah, man. Appreciate you guys.
All right, D'Angelo Russell with us after a 40-point night and another comeback win for the Brooklyn Nets, who it's been, 4 years since they made the playoffs. I keep mentioning this purgatory period they were in because of the trade that set them back for years. They just had no assets. They couldn't do anything. You got all these guys that they were either taking chances on or trading for different circumstances who felt like maybe their other team had given up on them, and here they are in the position to make the postseason.
I remember having a conversation with somebody a couple years ago, though. Kenny Atkinson instilled a certain fight in this group and established a certain kind of culture so that when they got to this point, Griff, they would have the wherewithal to battle this way. And they were going around the league a couple years ago, getting their noses bloody, but scrapping. And to me, that says something when you build it like that. They didn't take any shortcuts. They didn't try and, circumvent the process here. And nobody talked about what they're going through in the same manner because you didn't have a Joel Embiid or some kind of superstar to hang your rebuild on. But what they've done is instituted a culture change for the Brooklyn Nets that I think is something that's lasting. This is something you could see going on for years to come as they continue to evolve and get better. A lot of these different young guys playing together, growing together, and figuring it out as a group.
Yeah, they only won 28 games last year, but you've seen over the last couple of years they had a defined style, and they always played hard, no matter who was on the floor and what the talent level was.
Well, and to a huge degree, that's by design on the part of Sean Marks and Kenny Atkinson. And it also is in part because there's no one they had to play.
Right.
They could build a culture of accountability because if you don't do the right things, you don't get on the floor for Kenny Atkinson. And that's a really good thing when you're in a situation where you can reward people that are modeling the behavior and the effort that you want as a coach. It's very complicated to grow a young team when there are people who are, quote, entitled to their minutes. In Brooklyn, it's been accountability from the very beginning, much like it was in Boston when Brad Stevens first got there. And now Boston has overlaid that elite talent, and you saw they came into the year with very high expectations. This Brooklyn team has room for potentially 2 max free agents this offseason.
Right.
And I really believe the culture that they have built is going to speak to the right free agent at the right time.
Sure, the rest of the league has seen how they've gone about this, and these guys have played against them. They know how they play hard. Look, Brooklyn's not a bad place to live. It's a beautiful arena. They got a lot going for them there as well. All right, much more.